So can you talk a little about the things that you do with what we call the Big Five instructional models or cooperative learning, Socratics, inquiry-based, direct instruction, or hands-on or project-based learning? Any of those five, how do you use those in your classroom? How do you synergize them so that your students are not only feeling socially accepted as far as their culture is concerned, but that academically they're growing as well?
Academically, I find that consistency is key. My students know when we start the day, they know first thing in the morning they're going to unpack and they're going to put everything away. Then they begin their morning work or their morning routine. We start off with usually we have a news segment first thing in the morning, and with that news segment they sit and they listen to the morning news for students, and they jot down information. They pull from that news segment, and then from there we go into our morning work. But it's important for them to know that they have consistency in learning. So then every day is different based upon what the unit is that we are on, but I find that I use some of everything. Oftentimes it is teacher dependent, and I'm just going based upon my experiential knowledge or my knowledge, and I'm giving them, I'm pouring into that empty cup, and I'm trying to feed them hands-on of what I know. And then there are times I may use technology. I may use a video at the beginning of the unit just to open up their mind and to have the colors and the music, and it brings them their attention on what it is that I'm getting ready to teach. Sometimes I find that to be very important because we have a lot of our students are visual learners. In the age of technology, I find that if I use a video or a song or something that will stimulate their senses, that their auditory senses or their visual sense, they're more interested when I get down to the concepts that I want them to receive from the lesson itself. Sometimes I might use a lecture-based teaching style because I also want to hone in on their skills of note-taking. I tell them, I don't care if you write your notes in Spanish, whatever language it is that you want to write your notes, because your notes are for you. So when I'm giving them the lecture base, they are following along according to what their understanding is. And then sometimes I might jump over and just, I also love group learning. It's important for my students because I try to pull in our so-called strong students. Our strong students might come in with a student who's not right up on the level that they need to be. And when they're interacting with one another, I can guide them and say, well, what do you think, Sally, how John could use this technique in learning how to pull out the information from the text? How would you explain to him how to cite the information from the text? And then I watch them interact with one another. Well, Johnny, what can you show Sally about the text? And when they do that in a group setting, they understand that I might be strong in pulling out this area. You might be strong in pulling out this area. Let's put it together and see what we can come up with. So in that type of teaching, in the group setting, I love it because I watch them give to one another. And that's really important. I also use project-based learning. It's really big for me in ELA because then they are able to choose what avenue it is that they want to express what they have learned and how they are growing in their learning. Some may choose to write an essay. Some may choose to do a piece of artwork and explain how the artwork relates to the subject that we are on. Some have written plays based upon just pulling all the information together based upon what we are learning at the time. Some do trips, but it's all based upon what unit that we are on, how they express themselves and how they can show that they are learning the material. Oftentimes, I may do something where I'll use Uno cards. I'll use an Uno card. The red means I'm not getting this at all. The green means I got it. You can go on. Yellow means I have some questions about what it is that you're trying to teach me, and I'm not grasping some things in what you're saying. And what they do is each section, I have my classroom set up in sections. They'll leave their cards on the tables as they're leaving out the classroom. So I have an idea of where that class is standing. So I kind of use all of the aspects of teaching, the methods of teaching in one area or another based upon the dynamics of my classroom.